we have to continue to elect more socialists, and we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right, or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support.
Whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production, that is Vladimir Lenin, that is Joseph Stalin, that is a communist. Don't give him a gun. He'll start killing everybody. That was Zohran Mamdani. And because our brilliant callers are much smarter than reporters at the New York Times and most members of Congress, and it was Terry that just brought that up, right? It was Terry that just brought that up. Mamdani seizing the means of production, the end goal of seizing the means of production. In the print versions I saw, they didn't even include the end goal of seizing the means of production, which is key to what he said, because that states that it is his end goal to be a communist, to bring communism, which is slavery and brutality, and the left loves slavery and brutality, and the Democrat Party does too. Good thing the Democrat Party is the left now. Never call a Democrat state a blue state. Democrat states are red states. They are red. They are the reds. They're better dead than red. They are red. They're not on our side. That's good stuff. I got to tell you, I got a couple of texts in the meantime as well about Mamdani. A great friend who is a Catholic priest texted me and said, well, based on the language that he used and what he said right there, Mamdani would not recognize the right of the Vatican to exist because it is a hierarchical system based on religion. And he said he would not recognize any state with a hierarchy based on race or religion. Now, all race is Catholic, but it's based on a religion. That's Catholicism. That's Christianity. And he would not recognize them because he's a radical, an extremist, a communist, a jihadi.
I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. So, I have made that very clear.
He's made that very clear. So I got a natural that if Cuomo were an actual Catholic, he might have responded and said, well, wait a second, would you recognize, because the Vatican is a free state, an independent state, and they have an embassy here in Washington just across the street from the vice president's residence on Massachusetts Avenue. I drive by it very frequently. It's not an ambassador, he's a nuncio, and it's a nunciatura. That is the Vatican embassy, the Vatican's equivalent of an embassy, the apostolic nunciature, and the nuncio is the representative from the Vatican to the United States, their ambassador. So he wouldn't recognize the Vatican, and he wouldn't recognize Israel because he's a terrorist and a jihadi and a racist and a genocidal racist at that. And the Democrats love him because they're pretty darn close to all that as well. Yes, they are. And also, that is from Father Jim there. Great stuff right there. And another friend of mine who's an investigator type said, listen, Mamdani says that if you make buses free, then Democrats will stop beating bus drivers over the head. And somehow that makes sense. If you're dumb enough, and Mamdani is, then that might make sense to you.
One of the key reasons why we have to make buses free is because it reduces the assaults on bus drivers. It creates a safer work environment.
It reduces. Now, how does he know that? Has that been tried elsewhere where there are lots of assaults on bus drivers, and then you make the buses free and it reduces the assault? Does he have any empirical evidence to support that outrageous and ridiculous claim? I got an idea. Start arresting the people that hit bus drivers over the head and putting them in jail, and don't let them out without bail so they can do it again because they're mentally ill, violent Democrats. How about that? Maybe we're going to have that discussion. That could be good. But my friend Bill, investigator Bill, says, by that logic, of course, by Mamdani's logic, police should just stop arresting criminals because then fewer cops will be shot and fewer cops will be assaulted. But the Democrat Party is a violent criminal organization. They're very, very unwell. And speaking of which, the Democrats are rioting even as we speak. I'm sitting here right now, Michael Piercy and I, and Jasmine is here today, and a lot of people have been talking to her. She's she's smiling most of the time. Most of the time, it's because it's good, because our good people call in. But every now and then you get a crazy lefty that calls in. But I will set that aside now, because in Illinois right now, the Democrats are rioting at the Immigration Customs Enforcement Processing Center just outside of the city of Chicago, and they're violently assaulting federal officers, and they're being arrested and dragged away face down on the asphalt. They're in Broadview, Illinois, and the Democrats are. Somebody always brings a drum. That's the tin drum over here. Mentally unwell. I got an idea. Rather than making crime legal and rewarding criminals that would hit bus drivers over the head, maybe we should arrest the criminals that commit assault on city employees like bus drivers, and maybe that would slow things down, put things on ice, if you will. They don't like ice. So, yeah, Chicago area ICE detention facility. Protests erupt. This is the headline today. And the police are being assaulted by violent mobs of criminal Democrats who are there to support illegal alien criminals who are committing crimes all over the place, starting with coming into our country illegally. Aren't they amazing? We should get every protester here and house an illegal alien in their domicile. We will domicile them as a verb in their homes. Isn't that great? Anti-ICE riots in the Chicago area because they love violence and they hate enforcing the law. We had to beep out a lot of the F words, and this is the violent mob attacking the police. They love to attack the police. They love violence. They are the Democrat Party. And in Chicago, you've got political leaders there. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, like the mayor. Let's go, Brandon Johnson. I still had Mom Donnie on my brain there. And, of course, the billionaire governor there. Did you see the billionaire governor there? Turns out he's quite a gambler. He has inherited, the numbers vary, $3.5 billion from the Hyatt Hotel fortune that his forebears created, and he's done nothing to help. And some say $5 billion. So he's worth somewhere between $3.5 billion that he didn't earn and $5 billion that he didn't earn. But it turns out that he's a big casino gambler. You see this? J.D. Pritzker. He likes gambling in casinos, and he's very good at it, apparently. At least he went to a casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? And he was gambling, and he won. What did he win, Michael? $1.4 million. $1.4 million. And he said, well, he's gambling, and then he had to list it as income on his tax returns.
I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly
private
lucky.
Jet.
You have to be to end up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. It was in Las Vegas, and I like to play cards, and
Las Vegas.
You know that I founded a charitable poker match here in Chicago.
So it's a charitable poker match.
It has raised millions of dollars for the Holocaust Museum.
For the Holocaust of the Palestinian people, I think is the Holocaust Museum that he's talking about there. So he, KTLA, Los Angeles, the NBC station there, billionaire Illinois Governor Pritzker wins blackjack pot of $1.4 million in Las Vegas. Now, again, this guy's the luckiest mamma jamma in the history of lucky mamma jammas. He inherited, because his grandfather started the Hyatt Hotel chain, at least $3.5 billion, maybe $5 billion. Then he goes to Vegas on his private jet that his grandfather paid for. And what does he do? He goes to a casino, and I'm sure he's in the back room upstairs where only private $1 million gamblers are allowed. Something out of a bad Hollywood movie. But the story, Associated Press, with the story, it figures that a billionaire would win big in Las Vegas. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker reported a gambling windfall of $1.4 million on his federal tax return this week. Just this week, he keeps turning them in every week because he's got so much money. Got to keep up. The two-term Democrat who will likely end up in a penitentiary like so many Illinois governors do. Often mentioned as a 2028 presidential candidate, I wouldn't say often, but the Associated Press says that, told reporters in Chicago Thursday, that's yesterday, that he drew charmed hands in blackjack during a vacation with the state's First Lady, M.K. Pritzker, and friends in Sin City. You think they're going to mention that they took the private jet because they always leave that out when you're a Democrat. It was incredibly lucky, he said. You have to be up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. Pritzker just bragging about winning $1.4 million. Pritzker, an heir to the Hyatt hotel chain, has a net worth of $3.9 billion. Number 382 on Forbes 400, their 400 list of the nation's richest people. That's pretty good. We're a great country. This pig inherited everything. He's got $3.9 billion, and he only ranks number 382 when it comes to being in the 400 richest people just in the nation, not the world. We are a great country. A campaign spokesperson said via email that Pritzker planned to donate the money to charity, but did not respond when asked why he hadn't already done so. Well, because he hadn't been caught, because it hadn't been revealed. If he's really going to give it to $1.4 million, why don't you give your $3.9 billion to charity? You didn't earn a penny of it. Maybe you should give it to criminals in New York so they stop beating bus drivers over the head. You know, like that. Pritzker, who intends to seek a third term as governor in 2026, was under consideration as vice presidential running mate to Kamala Harris last year. But then they revealed that she was afraid that he would roll over her and crush her into the ground and kill her. So had to choose somebody else. So they chose Tim Walz from Minnesota, who you may remember is an Iraq war hero, just like, Da Nang Dick, like Da Nang Dick. He has deflected questions about any ambition beyond the Illinois governor's mansion, maybe prison, but he has used his personal wealth to fund other Democrats and related efforts, including a campaign to protect access to abortion, because they need more abortions. They need the organs. They floss with them. His profile has gotten an additional bump this fall as he condemns President Donald Trump's immigration enforcement in the Chicago area. He's pro-crime, and that gives him a bump, according to the Associated Press. That elevates him in the eyes of Democrats because he wants more crime, more laws broken, more law enforcement violently attacked by mobs of Democrats. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, so he's a gambling man. He's a gambling man, a rambling man. Yes, sir. The Pritzkers reported income of $10.66 million in 2024, mostly from dividends and capital gains. Thank you, Grandpa. They paid $1.6 million in taxes on taxable income, $5.87 million. Every Democrat should be screaming and complaining about this. He's a multi-billionaire, didn't earn it. Actual income, $10.66 million. Taxable income of $5.87 million. Only paid $1.6 million. A Democrat should be rioting at his house, shouldn't they? They should be burning garbage cans and stuff. The big wireless, the cellular telephone companies, they've been pulling one over on all of us for a long, long time. And now is the time to make the switch to consumer cellular. I did, and I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage without the big wireless cost every month in the bill, in the mail. But it's not just about saving money every month on my bill, although that's real nice. It's also about not being used and abused by the big cell phone companies. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? Probably not. I have no idea personally. Most people over the age of 50 use less than 8 gigs of data per month. But the big wireless companies, they shove everybody into an unlimited data plan because, they need you to redistribute your wealth to cover the cost of 19-year-olds using 10 times as much data as you. So if you're not using all that data, bad news, you're the one being used. Had enough of that? Go to Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone. It's an incredibly easy switch to make, too. You talk to an actual human being on the phone, not a touchpad, not a robot. That person is based right here in the United States, not on a space platform over Pakistan. Real human beings that are actually helpful right here in the United States. Only takes you about 20 minutes to make the switch, so give them a call and make that switch today. Call 800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Ah, yes. Hey, it's Friday, and it's a real bad day for John Bolton. I haven't gotten to John Bolton yet, but we've got John Bolton has been indicted, more classified material stuff in Washington. You'd think it was normal. Coming back with John Bolton. If you stop arresting criminals, then Democrats will stop assaulting police. And make buses free, then Democrats will stop assaulting bus drivers. And if you let them steal more money, they'll have grocery stores that are free or something like that. He's a commie and a jihadi. All right, let's take another phone call, Michael. Let's go to Nick, calling from Purcellville, Virginia. Nick, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Nick.
I find it very ironic that this year New York City is electing a communist to be their mayor, while this year Lech Walesa is also on a lecture tour of America, and he's going to be in New York City tomorrow. Also, this is the 50th anniversary of New York City facing bankruptcy, which I think it was Gerald Ford helped pull them out of. And also, Chris, your other caller talked about controlling the means of production.
Yeah.
And think about it. He is in New York City, and he wants to run grocery stores. And he's got all that farmland in the middle of New York City. So maybe he's going to start a farming there, and you have to bring in some immigrants to help that. And then we'll have farm fresh produce and chickens and
we'll turn Central Park into an agrarian commune where they'll bring in illegal aliens. They don't have to bring them very far to grow vegetables for the starving people of New York. The Speaker of the entire House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, he came out and held a press conference today. He's holding a lot of them because the Democrats shut the government down and they want to kill everybody. You know how they are. But the Speaker, they haven't gotten quite there yet, but they're working on it. They're going to seize the means of production, and then they'll get there. This is why our genius founders insisted on the Second Amendment. The First Amendment, really big, free practice of religion, free speech, free press, assemble, petition government, wonderful, just earth-changing, history-altering, the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights, the Constitution of the United States. And the second, they said, well, what are we going to need if we want to hang on to that? Well, I can tell you this much. The people better be armed, because at some point the state's going to come for their rights. All right? As I like to say, the left is coming for your rights. The left is coming. That's one of my sayings. That's one of mine. I came up with that one. That's a good one, isn't it? The left is coming for your rights. All right, now let's go to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, today, talking about the Democrats are planning nationwide riots tomorrow because no kings And this is another mental illness that they're suffering from. Trump wants to be the king. At this point, he probably can't wait to get out of there. But he's going to fix some stuff, whether you like it or not, while he's there. And the No Kings riots are tomorrow. I think we're having one in Washington, right? And they've got them all over the mental. They've organized the mentally ill, and they corrupted public education long ago. So they had enough stupid people to use as cannon fodder in their revolution against civilization. But here's the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, just this morning.
Tomorrow, the Democrat leaders are going to join for a big party out on the National Mall. They're going to descend on our Capitol for their much-anticipated so-called No Kings rally. We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America rally, okay? And I'm not sure how anybody can refute that. If you think about what's going to happen here tomorrow, you're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party.
Yes, the anarchists, the socialists, the Marxists, violent mobs of political lunatics. We use the shorthand, the Democrat Party. Yeah, that's because that's who they are. Aren't they amazing? Speaker of the House, and they're planning on rallying. Sounds like an insurrection already, doesn't it? And you've got, I believe the Speaker said, Democrat members of Congress are going to join them. They're going to attack the Capitol, burn it to the ground. They usually set everything on fire, don't they? Not like on January 6th when Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed, murdered, dare I say, by, what's his name, Lieutenant Byrd. And they gave him awards for shooting and killing this nice woman, a 12-year veteran of the United States Air Force, who, unlike Hunter Biden, was discharged honorably and at her own request. But that's it. Speaker of the House this morning.
And as the shutdown drags on, it's becoming increasingly clear that this spectacle is the reason the Democrats have refused to reopen the government. Just read a sample of the materials that this organizing group has circulated far and wide about the event tomorrow. They distributed talking points cheering on the shutdown. I mean, they're urging this on. They love this. They're cheering on Chuck Schumer's decision to close the government, and their lead organizer said this. This is his words, not mine. Quote, "He hasn't surrendered yet. I call that progress."
That's right. I call that pride. This is what a corrupt news media can do for a corrupt Democrat Party. They're sleeping together, all of them, and doing a little bit of the old in out. You know how it goes. But it is your Democrat Party, the ridiculous Democrat Party. Your Democrat Party. Here's a headline from the left-wing people at the New Republic, left-wingers up the yin-yang. The headline is that tomorrow, again, the No Kings rallies across the marches, violence, riots, maybe a body count. We'll see. We're a third world country now, thanks to the Democrat Party. The headline in the left-wing New Republic, Trump wants to fire missiles over California same day as No Kings. I'm sorry, the Democrats are rioting, so they want to arrange ahead of time that the Marine Corps stops training because, there are big Marine Corps bases in California, in particular Camp Pendleton, and the Los Angeles Times is on the job, too. Their headline is Newsom. He's the governor there. Did you see the Democrat organizers the other day, Newsom, and they put out their big thing, Newsom for president, and they misspelled Newsom's name? The Democrats misspelled in their own release, their own Democrat, their own presidential push. Newsom warns of missiles over I-5, but freeway will remain open during live fire Camp Pendleton event. That's the headline. That's a confused and jumbled bunch by the people at the Los Angeles Times. So wait a minute. The Democrats having an anti-Trump rally does not mean that the Marine Corps will stop training on Saturday. Will major California road close ahead of No Kings protests? Newsweek magazine is on it. I got to tell you. Reports that a military parade could close the interstate, I-5, Interstate 5, in the Golden State, that is what we used to call California, during No Kings protests have sparked alarm among social media users, although the White House has said the road will remain open. I got to tell you, and then why it matters, protests opposing President Trump began in June 2025 and is set to happen again November 18th. November 18th, isn't that exciting? That's tomorrow, Saturday, with over 2,500 events nationwide. Some of them will just be a teenager hanging themselves under a bridge, including major rallies in Washington, D.C., New York City, and Los Angeles, riots, denouncing moves such as the deployment of federal forces in cities and executive orders bypassing Congress. All executive orders bypass Congress. Ask Joe Biden. Ask Barack Obama, who abused every federal agency he could for his own political gain because he's a corrupt third world banana republic corruptnik. Midas Touch reported that the protests will coincide with a military parade which will force I-5 closures, raising the prospect of large traffic jams at a time of heightened political tensions over the protests. This is all the Democrat Party, 100%, the left wing. Now, let me bring it back to the national capital region here, because they're doing it here, as this story just cited and I just mentioned here. But my great newsman friend Tim sent along the latest item. Governor Glenn Youngkin in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Youngkin mobilizes Virginia National Guard for anti-Trump No Kings protests. Oh, no. I got to tell you, the Democrat Party, they're the party of civil war. They are the left. They're the party of the first American Civil War. They're the party of political violence that has become so commonplace, so normal in the United States. They pretend that January 6th was something out of the ordinary. It was nothing out of the ordinary. They normalized it. Isn't that amazing? And by the way, the march and the Los Angeles Times didn't mention it, but never mind that. The Camp Pendleton event is actually the Marine Corps' 250th birthday celebration. And the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, who served as a Marine Corps officer and served in Iraq, unlike, Governor Walz in Minnesota, who claimed that he served as a Marine in Iraq, but he didn't because he's a liar and a fraud and a charlatan and a stolen valor boy and all of that. But at Camp Pendleton tomorrow, it's the 250th anniversary of the Marine Corps, and the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, combat veteran, U.S. Marine Corps, Iraq, he will be speaking at the event. And the Democrats are trying to, it's an insurrection. They're trying to shut down the Marine Corps' 250th birthday celebration. The Vice President, Marine Corps combat veteran, will be there. And the media, with their the people they're sleeping with in the Democrat Party, they're trying to shut it down because they are nothing but a house of ill repute. Isn't that amazing? Now, again, and just to mop up on this, Camp Pendleton, the great and amazing, legendary Camp Pendleton, J.D. Vance, Vice President, and Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to join Marines' 250th birthday celebration at Camp Pendleton. Isn't that great? So the Marine Expeditionary Force will host a live-fire amphibious capabilities demonstration at Red Beach on Camp Pendleton. It's right on the Pacific Ocean, the world's largest ocean, followed by a community beach bash at Del Mar Beach on Saturday. And the Democrat Party might attack it. I think we should unleash the Marine Corps on them if they do. So the Marine Corps Expeditionary Force will host a live-fire amphibious capabilities demonstration, Camp Pendleton, Red Beach, on Saturday to commemorate the Marine Corps' 250th birthday and America's 250th anniversary. It was announced on Thursday the capabilities demonstration will feature integrated Navy and Marine Corps operations across air, land, and sea, according to base officials. They say Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, it's the Department of War now, the War Secretary Pete Hegseth and Vice President J.D. Vance are expected to attend. Hegseth, an Army veteran, J.D. Vance, a Marine Corps veteran, expected to attend, according to U.S. Marine Corps officials. So the force training activities planned to ensure our readiness to defend the homeland and protect our nation against interests abroad, against emergent and unprecedented challenges today and in the years ahead, a spokesperson with Camp Pendleton said in a statement. All training events will occur on approved training ranges and comport with established safety protocols. But now the Democrats are trying to blow that up because they're terrorist groups. And again, Glenn Youngkin, the Republican governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, announces that Virginia National Guard will be called up and deployed for the anti-Trump protests that they call No Kings. They're probably going to attack synagogues and things. That's what they usually do. So Governor Glenn Youngkin has mobilized the Virginia National Guard ahead of Saturday's No Kings protests, opposing President Donald Trump's policies. You know, I opposed Barack Hussein Obama's communist policies. I opposed Joe Biden stumbling down a flight of stairs, idiot policies, banging his head, dunk, 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 falling down the stairs, trying to get on Air Force One. So isn't that great? And that's what the Democrats are up to. Oh, and that's all that we have for the No Kings rallies that the Democrats are launching against America tomorrow. And the Yahoo News people, No Kings demonstrations are planned across the U.S. tomorrow to protest the Trump administration. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. J.D. Vance was an enlisted man and not an officer. I said officer. I apologize. Absolutely true. And Marty straightened me out there because Marty knows. He's a smart guy. So congressional GOP leaders are dubbing the protests the Hate America rallies, and they've got a map here. Oh, look, they're all over Alaska. I mean, they got dozens of them in Alaska, these No Kings rallies. They've got them in Mexico City. Rallies, No Kings rallies in Mexico City. And looks like in Panama, they've got, it's Costa Rica. They've got Costa Rica, the No Kings rallies, because Democrats, you know how they are, very, very mentally ill, aren't they? What do you have there? Oh, I apologize. Let me go. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Mike calling from Germantown, Maryland. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm very well, Mike. What do you say?
You're listing out some of the other countries that are doing No Kings rallies, and I think that's great that they're supporting them and all. But they also have one in Sweden and one in the UK, and they have kings. So I'm wondering if Trump has reached out to them to offer any military support should they try to topple those kings.
That is a funny point. They have the King of England, King Chuck, as he's known. I met him when he was Crown Prince Chuck, and I enlightened him as to a few things, straightened him out on a few things at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. And who's it? Where is it? Sweden? They're having No Kings protests in Sweden too. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I think there's going to be some action as a result of those protests.
I think the Americans are. They're really, we, America, we're the ones that started the trend in Europe of overthrowing the kings of Europe, the monarchies of Europe. And now the Democrats, they're pretending to be no kings. But that's because they want communist dictators, I think. Is that what it is, Mike?
I think so. I think that's what it's evolved towards.
It is truly. The Democrat Party is just a great lump on the road after a parade of horses has gone by. I think that makes it clear enough. Aren't they amazing? But Mike, thank God you called in because I didn't get to that. And I wasn't even aware they were protesting in England and in Sweden. And in Sweden, who's the king of Sweden these days, Mike?
I don't know who it is these days, but years and years ago, I actually ran into him at the Boy Scout Jamboree. So I know he's there. I know there is a king of Sweden.
Who, Carl Gustav? Michael looked it up on the internet. Carl Gustav is the king of Sweden, and the Democrats are hosting a No Kings rally in Sweden. I think they should bring in helicopter gunships, and whoever's protesting there should probably, you got to preserve the monarchy in Sweden. It's Sweden, for crying out loud. It's not like they ever had a bad guy king in their life. and the history of the country. Yeah, Carl Gustav. He is, what is he? He's the 16th. Carl the 16th Gustav, right? Isn't that right? King since 73. He's been king since 1973. That's steady employment, isn't it? I bet that comes with a good medical plan, too. Good dental. Here's a picture of him smiling. I think he's got good dental. Yeah, the Democrats, they're waging war against the world. They're not the Democrat Party. They're the left. They're the international left. And they will destroy the world given half a chance.
Good to beat it, King.
Mike, great call. Thank you very much. Isn't it funny, the news media here not mentioning that the radical left in the United States are also marching with their No Kings marches in 2 countries with kings. That is a brilliant call. Wonderful call by Mike. Great stuff. The King of England, the King of Sweden. And they're going to, the left in the United States, stirring up trouble everywhere they go. They are the third world. There is a terrible war coming on the planet Earth, and the Democrat Party is maybe the prime driver. Radical Islam has nothing on the Democrat Party. I do love the Carl. It's Carl the 16th. I had to do my European to English translation because it's Carl XVI. Carl XVI. Now, when you see XVI, it's funny. I work with a woman who's an adult woman, and she said recently in a meeting, she said, I have no idea what Roman numerals are. I can't tell you anything about Roman numerals. I mean, so you can't tell me what year a movie was made when you're watching the credits? Roman numerals. But we don't teach Roman numerals anymore. The Roman Empire, still greater than the Democrat Party, still did more great stuff than the Democrats. They couldn't even get water to France today from the mountains of Switzerland the way the Romans did. Well, it's true. They can't get water from California to California, as Michael Piercy said. From Northern California to the fire hydrants in Los Angeles, they can't even do that. Aren't they amazing? I really barely got to the John Bolton. John Bolton indicted. John Bolton turned himself in today. John Bolton facing charges for the mishandling of classified documents. Apparently the Iranians hacked him and he had shared him with his kid.